The 2015 Boston Marathon was the 119th running of the Boston Athletic Association's mass participation marathon. It took place on Monday, April 20. The men's race was won by Lelisa Desiza from Ethiopia in a time of 2 hours 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Caroline Rotich of Kenya won the women's race with a time 2 hours 24 minutes and 55 seconds. The event ran along the same winding course the marathon has followed for many decades. 26 miles 385 yards of roads and city streets. Through 8 Massachusetts cities and towns. To the finish line beside the Boston Public Library. On Boylston Street in Boston's Copley Square. The marathon had about 30,000 entries. All 50 U.S. states and all Canadian provinces were represented at the marathon, as well as several U.S. territories, including American Samoa, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Training for the 2015 marathon in the Greater Boston area was difficult because Boston received over 100 inches of snow during the previous winter. This resulted in many people trying to find ways to work around the weather, such as training on treadmills and indoor tracks, and by obtaining more equipment designed for the weather. Boston received all but one of the 4 defending champions participated in the marathon. Rita Jeptu, who set a course record in 2014, was the exception. She is serving a 2-year ban for a positive drug test taken in September 2014, which did not void her record. On a cold and rainy day, turnout for the 2015 Boston Marathon was lighter than the 1 million spectators race officials had planned for. Stiff winds slowed race times. Security was described as visible but not intrusive, as local and state police combined forces with National Guard soldiers to keep things safe. The men's race got off to a moderately paced start with Dartan Ritzanhain and defending champion Meb Keflezighi of the United States heading a 10-man lead pack. A quarter of the way in, Lelisa Desiza from Ethiopia decided to push the pace. As the pace quickened, the lead group fell from 12 to 9 with 4 Kenyans, 4 Ethiopians, and Keflezighi leading the way. Ritzanhain had fallen 15 seconds back but picked up his pace, rejoining and then passing the lead group. At Heartbreak Hill the field thinned. Keflezighi briefly took the lead, but fell well off the pace when he choked on some water around the 22-mile mark and vomited 5 times as a result. With 2 miles to go, Desiza pulled away from the field. Desiza, who had been among the lead group all race, finished with a time of 2 hours 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Beating fellow countryman Yemane Adhane Sege by 31 seconds. The 1-2 finish was the first for Ethiopia in the race's history. Kenya's Wilson Chebet finished in 3rd place, 34 seconds behind Sege. Ritzanhain was the highest finishing American in 7th place, followed by Keflezighi in 8th. Desiza had previously won the 2013 edition of the race. However, his win that day was overshadowed by the Boston Marathon bombing hours later. In the 2015 post-race festivities, Boston Athletic Association spokesman Jack Fleming paid homage to Desiza's 2013 win, saying, "Lelisa did not get to have the kind of victory celebration that a champion of the Boston Marathon should have. Lelisa, we want you to get your due today." Desiza's win by 31 seconds was the largest margin of victory since Robert Kipkoech won by 1:18 in the 2008 Boston Marathon. It also made him the first non-Kenyan to win the race twice since England's Jeff Smith won back-to-back races in 1984 and 1985. The win came with a $150,000 prize, a golden olive wreath, and a winner's medal. "This medal, I think, is for me," he told the crowd. In the women's race, a lead group of 9 was thinned to 3 as Ethiopia's Bizinesh Diba picked up the pace with a 5:08.24 mile. For a while, Diba and fellow Ethiopian mare Dibaba worked together to hold back Caroline Rotich of Kenya. However, Diba tightened up entering Boylston Street and fell off the pace. Rotich and Dibaba raced the final quarter mile side by side. Dibaba briefly took the lead, but Rotich outkicked her in the final 100 yards for a 4-second victory, finishing with a time of 2 hours 24 minutes and 55 seconds. Diba placed third, 10 seconds behind Dibaba, following up her second-place finish in 2014. Desiree Linden of the United States placed fourth, 30 seconds back of Diba. After leading for much of the race, Rotich did not lead at a single checkpoint during the race. Rotich's win was her first Boston Marathon title, and the 5th straight win for Kenya in the women's race. Earlier in the day, Marcel Hug of Switzerland won his first title in the men's wheelchair race, beating South Africa's Ernst van Dijk, who was looking for an 11th Boston Marathon crown. America's Tatiana McFadden won the women's wheelchair race for the 3rd straight year. Official results from the Boston Athletic Association